Farmers' welfare in Bali is low. Subak's fate at a crossroads. And more on the North Bali airport. This is new. Is China going to be at least a partial funder of the North Bali airport? And the location seems to be up in the air once again. Stay tuned for details on these and other stories. Selamat pagi. Welcome to the latest news from Bali in Indonesia. This is November 15th, 2024, and my name is Bruce. And what is the weather like today? Hazy. It's been hazy for the last few days, and it is hot. It's 9 o'clock in the morning. It's already 31.5 degrees Celsius here. Humidity is 69%. And so I don't know what the haze thing is. For the last few days, it's been hazy. It's kind of strange. But the water, the ocean, is very calm, very clear, and kids love that. And just the latest thing in the airport, I just checked in at the Nurai airport here in Bali, and according to the website, everything is functioning again. If you happen to be at the airport and you're stuck, leave a comment. Otherwise, it looks better today. Okay, let's get started with the Subak story. Farmers' welfare in Bali is low. Subak's fate at a crossroads. In order to prepare a roadmap for preserving Subak in Bali, the Ministry of Culture held a Subak cultural meeting event on this past Monday as part of the Subak Spirit Festival. Regarding the roadmap, cultural figure Jakorta Oka Artha Ardana Sukawati emphasized the need to synergize agriculture with tourism. There must be concrete steps. The reality is that agriculture is now at a crossroads, said the former deputy governor. This is what we have to think about because income from agriculture is far below income from tourism. Agriculture cannot be seen as just a producer of agricultural products, he said. Not to mention the impression that farmers are synonymous with dirty and backward professions, so young people are not interested in doing it, and that's a real problem. In terms of income, the former deputy governor, once calculated that the average harvest of farmers in Bali yielded 36 million per hectare per harvest with a production period of 4 months. That income has not been deducted from production costs, so the monthly income is very small, he said, especially when compared to tourism workers. The reality, he said, is that farmers and the agriculture sector are at a crossroads. In addition to being assisted by various government programs, according to him, agricultural areas, and especially Subak, must also be managed as tourist destinations. So, he continued, there will be cross-subsidies and farmers will prosper. It can be managed like Ubud village, which has a monkey forest and has an income of billions of rupiahs, he said, giving a comparison. Regarding the roadmap, Director of Cultural Development and Utilization, Irini Dewi Wanti, stated that farmer welfare will certainly be an important goal as part of saving the Subak, which has become a world cultural heritage. The presence of the government through the Ministry of Culture is in line with the vision and mission of self-sufficiency, talked about this before, and food security. The roadmap is expected to be a common foundation across ministries and with local governments, both at the Bali provincial level and the 5 regencies that are part of the Subak cultural landscape, namely Tabanan, Gianyar, Bangli, Badung, and Buleleng. Within the scope of World Cultural Heritage status, there are a series of 5 locations. Of course, the roadmap will also be the basis for the participation of various other components of society, such as academics, artists, farmers, and others. So, saving agriculture, encouraging younger people to be farmers to keep up this tradition, very important, especially if we're looking at food self-sufficiency in both Bali and in Indonesia. And let's get on to the airport. Now, I said before that I wasn't going to talk about the airport anymore because there's just stories constantly because of the election, partly because of the election, partly because the president is now behind this North Bali airport. But here is some new news that just came out today. POLEMIC, acting governor of Bali, claims not to know Chinese company will fund airport development in Buleleng. There is widespread information that the construction of an airport in North Bali has received funds from China. PT Bibu Panji Sakti announced the cooperation in the construction of North Bali Airport with Changyi Construction Company Limited, a construction company from China, on November 8th at the Indonesian Embassy office in Beijing. Nominal investment, $3 billion US. When confirmed with Acting Governor Mahendra Jaya, he admitted that he hadn't received any information regarding the collaboration. "I don't know yet. We haven't received any explanation," he said. So, President Prabowo has given the green light for the construction of the airport, and he conveyed this on his visit to Bali November 3rd. PTB Bhupanji Sakti officially signed a MOU with the construction company in the Indonesian Embassy office on November 8th. The signing of the MOU was attended by the Minister Counselor of the Indonesian Embassy in Beijing, who was representing the Indonesian ambassador to China. In this agreement, the construction company will be a partner and will support project financing. So, more Chinese involvement in the development of infrastructure in Bali. And some more news on Bali, according to a recent article. The location of the airport, the proposed location, is now up in the air. According to the acting governor, it could be in the east of Buleleng, it could be in the west of Buleleng. So, Kubatambahan, or somewhere out by the West Bali National Park. The last location was over in Kubatambahan, and now it's up for grabs again. And he said, the acting governor said, that the central government will decide the location, not the provincial government. So, the never-ending saga of the North Bali Airport. And speaking of infrastructure, acting governor meets AHY, discusses Bali Subway Project and its obstacles, asks for assistance from the center. So the acting governor of Bali explained the plan to build the Bali Subway in front of coordinating Minister for Infrastructure and Regional Development, Agus Harimurti Yudhoyono, or AHY. Mahendra asked for support from the central government. He said the subway is a solution to overcome the problem of traffic congestion that has an impact on the tourism sector in Bali. He said Bali tourism currently really needs infrastructure support. The lines that will be built for the subway are densely trafficked lines. If this project can be realized up to Tanah Lot, it will help maintain the stability of the tourism sector. Bali really needs transportation infrastructure that supports the tourism sector, he said. He made this comment on Tuesday. Mahendra also explained several obstacles faced in the Bali Subway Development Plan, including regulations related to the use of underground space and technical approval for the route plan. In addition, Mahendra also explained a number of infrastructure development plans in Bali that require attention and facilities. Plans to accelerate strategic infrastructure development and infrastructure development sourced from the budget that has been implemented, but not yet inaugurated. AHY is generally committed to mitigating a number of risks that have the potential to hamper infrastructure development in a number of regions in the country. He said, "We want to monitor and improve development performance in various sectors." He revealed a number of risks that have the potential to hinder national development, including construction, social legal risk, and a number of other challenges, including land availability, definitely in Bali, time targets, and inadequate planning. Really? The budget could balloon if the feasibility study is incomplete, not to mention if there are leaks, including inefficiencies because it was not integrated from the start. What are the leaks? Well, take your guess. AHY also emphasized that if vital infrastructure projects needed by the community with large budgets can be completed according to the target, for example, airport projects, docks, and reservoirs that are important for agriculture. For this reason, the coordinating minister, who coordinates 5 technical ministries, said he will be more serious in providing guidance and monitoring to ensure that development projects run smoothly. Not only the central government, he also expects synergy from local governments so that development is right on target, provides benefits to the local community, and supports the target of 8% growth. That's the 8% for Indonesia. There should be no more large infrastructure projects, especially those that require a large budget. And then after they are magnificent, they are not optimal because their use is not as expected, he explained. A lot of great plans. When do they get carried out? We're talking about the subway and how it's going to solve Bali's traffic problems. Remember when I was talking about this, months and months ago, and they said that the target was 2031 to start, so another 7 years. So what about traffic from 2024 to 2031? Let's just say that the whole thing, building the subway, gets going and it doesn't cause huge traffic problems in itself. What's the solution for the next 7 years? Or are we going to just continue on with these horrendous traffic problems that do turn people off and that make life very inconvenient for Indonesians that have to work in the Sabagita area? Of course, another plan is that the airport, the North Bali airport, is going to solve the traffic problems. And even if that gets going someday, I'm not quite sure how that's going to solve traffic problems, because who's going to want to fly up here? There are just so many things to be considered and figured out, and coordination, cooperation between the agencies, the ministries, the private businesses. Like the previous story said, the acting governor doesn't know anything about the Chinese company cooperating in building the airport. News to him. And now let's take a look at education in Buleleng. Council highlights lack of classrooms and textbooks in several schools. Commission 4 of the Buleleng DPRD, together with related agencies, are again finalizing discussions on the 2025 Buleleng budget. One of the issues highlighted in the field of education, starting from the lack of classrooms to the limited textbooks given to each student. Members of Commission 4 of the Buleleng DPRD, Ninyoman Parlina Dewi, said that she found a number of educational problems. The Golkar faction, Sri Kandi, said that the condition of education in villages, especially for elementary school levels, needs to be considered in more details, especially for the availability of supporting learning facilities and infrastructure. Schools in the villages still provide textbooks, one book for 3 students. The problem is the distance between one student's house and another is far. So how can they learn with these limitations? Another issue is that there are still many elementary schools that lack classroom space. Until the school had to block one classroom into 2, or some use the library space for study until the implementation of 2 shifts. Secretary of the Buleleng Youth and Sports Education Office answered the question. He said that the problem of limited textbooks in several schools is still happening, especially in schools that have minimal school operation assistance, that's BOS funds. According to him, the procurement and provision of student textbooks can be funded from BOS funds. BOS funds depend on the number of students and for all school operations. So schools must be selective in prioritizing, because operational costs are not only for textbooks but also for paying for water, electricity, minor damage, repairs, and other things. The fastest solution is the school can communicate the condition to the parents of students through the committee. The shortage of textbooks can ask for the participation of parents for the needs of their children. According to him, this is not a burden to the parents of students, but rather to invite parents to take responsibility for their children's education. In other words, pay for your kids' books. Sometimes the perception of free schools has co-opted the community, which makes the view that everything is prepared by the school, but the reality is not like that. Not all school needs can be covered by BOS funds. About the lack of classrooms, it is necessary to synchronize the budget conditions between regional and central financial capabilities. In addition, educational units have so far also been routinely directed to report real conditions in their schools through the basic education data, one of which is the lack of classrooms. It is also necessary to see the condition of the land that allows for the building of a new classroom. However, if empty land is not available, revitalization of the existing classroom can be and should be carried out. Classroom provision requires an adequate budget. Additionally, if the classroom is already standard and sufficient, especially in elementary schools, except for those that have experienced overload in recent years, what often happens is that classrooms are borrowed for teacher rooms. seen some of these schools out in more remote villages, and well, they leave a lot to be desired. So if we're looking at learning and why kids are having difficulty in some places learning, it's because they don't have any textbooks and the facilities are run down, to say the least. Okay, that is it for today. Thanks for viewing. Be kind to someone today. Take care, and I will see you next time.